Warning! This video may contain a couple spoilers from Mario Galaxy movies, so do proceed with caution. With that being said, enjoy the video. Greetings. It has been a month since I have last done a video. Well, a full-length video, that is. Since my last YouTube-related thing I had posted up was in fact a short that followed up to said video, and that short actually has acknowledged that now King Wart has official merchandise, or he will have official merchandise, of course, and it's because I have looked at a long list of what will be coming up soon for Jakks Pacific's line of Wave 2 Super Mario Galaxy movie figures. And, well, not just figures, but also dioramas, playsets, like stuff like that. So, what stuck out to me was the Minus World diorama with a mini Wart figure and a mini Penguin Toad figure. And so, shortly after I had posted up that short on my channel, there then followed up to be a short posted up by another YouTuber. So this YouTuber, their handle is named Pumpkin Duck B. I'm not sure if I said that right, but they're Hong Kong based, and they happen to have found the diorama early, because from where they're from, pretty sure they released over there. And when I had a conversation with this person that found the diorama early, they said maybe in North America the diorama might come up around June, July, August, like probably around June, they said. Though I thought it was going to be June, July, August, honestly, because of like what Jakks Pacific had specifically said about when they would release the Wave 2. They said maybe around like summertime. And I'm like, summertime when? You know? And now I know when. So possibly June. I would touch upon that quite shortly, since I have had like a similar conversation like this with, of course, all jokes aside, gaming. And so, yeah, so I had shouted them out in my last video, and so these conversations will come up pretty shortly. So with this being said, speaking about King Wart, I do remember I had said at the very end of previous long video that I was going to explore into the world of yumeshipping. We're gonna dive really deep into the world of yumeshipping together. So basically, yumeshipping is just self-shipping, right? Like, it's just self-shipping. Like, just shipping yourself with a character. Yeah, so I have done self-shipping, but I did not know the terminology yumeshipping yet until it had recently become, well, a word that just is used for just that. Now, about, like, self-shipping, yumeshipping, I have not been new to yumeshipping. I've not been new to yumeshipping at all. Because, like, I've done this for, years. Though, the yumeships I had come up with, they're either just, they don't pop off, or, like, you know, or, like, they're not really that relevant. So, the two most recently popular yumeships I had made myself. Obviously, there's me with my husband, Dr. Quack, in the ukulele series, for those that already knows. But speaking of, this yumeship we're talking about today, it is myself with King Wart. But, here's the twist. I'm not even me. You know, like, okay, so here's how the story begins. With my self-insert, who is named Crow. Or at least, this is the name she chooses herself when she joins the 8-Bit Syndicate. So here's how Crow's story begins. One day, Crow stumbles upon a wart pipe into the Mushroom Kingdom and sees that the Galactic Princess, Rosalina, floats down to the kingdom from space. And Crow falls in love with Rosa, and that the two then go out on a nice date together. And as they're dating together, they have this nice picnic outside. And when they were eating and talking during this picnic date, Rosa talks about how traumatized she was about how Bowser Jr. had taken her away, along with how it wasn't just Bowser Jr. that was, you know, a culprit, since, well, he was her captor. But she also brings up a specific topic of interest that then almost had flustered Crow a bit. So what Rosa says is something along the lines of, this dangerous bunch, or something. And it's referring to the syndicate, the 8-bit syndicate that King Wart leads. So, why what flustered Crow about this was Rosa even mentioned Wart by name, which I'm pretty sure she shouldn't have opened her big lip about that. Oops. And when Crow became more interested about wanting to pay the syndicate a visit there, Rosa was hesitant and then would say something like, oh, that's not a good idea, or something. But Crow, convinces Rosa that this will work. This meaning, like, she comes up with a really devious, plan to sneak into the casino in disguise and have the syndicate not notice it's them, So for context, Crow, at first, before she chooses the name Crow, she basically has my name, but, that's not important. Anyway, so the plan that Crow comes up with is that, yes, indeed, they go in the casino in disguise. That they would wear, cloaks underneath some clothes they eventually would wear. And what they would wear underneath the cloaks is soon to be revealed once they would uncloak themselves. Because the thing is, once they go into the casino together, there they meet the syndicate. Because Crow had remembered the platform sequence leading up from the Mushroom Kingdom to Gateway Galaxy, to the Gateway Underground, and to the casino. So, yeah. Anyways, the Gateway Galaxy Underground. The Gateway Galaxy Underground realm is called Minus World. So this is why the diorama is known as the Minus World, even if it actually is highlighting the specific Wart's casino location. Curious, huh? Anyway, on the topic of my character Crow with Rosalina going into the casino together, the meeting that they have with the syndicate, it goes smoothly, of course, because, not only Crow had come up with this fake name Crow to be the disguise name, but she also had come up with a disguise name for Rosa, and the disguise name for Rosa being Dove. So it's Crow and Dove. The reason why Crow thought that'd be a good idea is because she remembers that King Wart has the top female syndicate member being named Birdo. But anyway, yeah, I know. Quite creative, am I right? So, when Crow and Rosa, Dove, go into the casino together with their cloaks, and they're just gonna have a little talk with King Wart, and the talk goes quite well, until Wart suddenly recognizes the face features of Rosalina. That is giving away her identity. And then as he's about to attack them with the ninjas, the same way he did for Princess and Toad in the movie.
Oh, Princess, you're going to regret that.
And not only that, but then the entire 8 bits were gonna go after the 2 ladies. But then, before they could attack, Rosalina and Crow then take off their cloaks and ta-da! They're wearing bunny suits underneath. And so Rosa and Crow dance while they wear the bunny suits, and it got Wart's attention, for sure. So this was also a part of the plan to... yeah, so this is how Crow meets Wart. This is how Crow and Wart meet because of this. Yeah, then, after Crow and Wart spend a bit of alone time together, since Rosa leaves Crow alone with Wart because of how Rosa was really scared that she got recognized straight away, like quite nervous, and understandably so. It's like, oh, you're a galactic princess. You know that this person that had recognized you straight up is bad news to you, and you don't even want to have anything to do with that. Oh my gosh. But, here's the next part about what makes this Yume ship so interesting about the ship between Crow and Wart. Now, I said before, Triclyde and Fryguy are being brought back into the story, because you only see that Birdo, Mauser, and Clawgrip are with Wart, just like in the second movie. But Triclyde and Fryguy are missing because I actually wrote out a reason for like where Triclyde and Fryguy had gone. So, about Crow and Wart's story, how Crow brings back Triclyde and Fryguy from the Syndicate, like to the Syndicate, back from Subcon, like to the casino. The casino acting as the Syndicate's headquarters, if this makes sense. And, so Crow goes through a portal that it's the very same portal Bowser Jr. had painted, in which, this portal would lead from Subcon to the casino. And this is exactly my own headcanon about how Wart, Birdo, Mauser, Clawgrip ended up into the casino. So, yeah, with this headcanon being quite relevant in this talk here, this same portal Crow would go through since King Wart would ask her to fetch back Triclyde and Fryguy. And she does so by then going straight through Subcon and goes into a cave that is in the desert realm of Subcon. And in this cave lies Triclyde and Fryguy, pretty lonely. But it's okay. Crow gets them back out of the cave, thanks to Fryguy's sparks and embers lighting the way out from the cave back to Subcon, fresh air. And once the three exit the cave and desert to go back where the portal to the casino is, they then go into the casino. And the Syndicate is reunited again. And next day, after that day, when Crow brings back Triclyde and Fryguy, to the point which now Triclyde becomes her pet. In the same way, the stupid little Ukiki is Wart's pet. I'm sorry, if you thought Clawgrip was Wart's pet, no, it's the stupid little Ukiki that steals the luggage. You want to know why? Because Ukiki was responsible for leading Peach and Toad to the casino! Anyway! Next day, after Crow brings back Triclyde and Fryguy from Subcon to the casino, the next day, she begins her training as a mercenary in the Syndicate by training her martial art skills. And as she was attempting her training, multiple times over, she notices that something was throwing off her flow. And what was throwing off her flow was her hair. And meanwhile, when she noticed that this was a cause of her training not going very well, she sees Wart about to slice an apple to cheer Crow up because she was been having a hard time. But then the knife became a spark of inspiration for Crow. And she, learning Ukige's ways of thieving, she steals his knife and uses it to cut her hair short. So this is how Crow has her signature look. Okay, so enough about those 3 essential lore bits about what you should know about the Crow and Wart pairing. So let's get right into the meat of the video, other than just when I was talking about how I have created a yumeship of a self-insert of mine being paired with Wart, and that I talk about the most essential, like, lore bits that you should know about the said ship. Now, the meat of the video is that I wanted to address a couple responses between me and All Jokes Aside Gaming. And so we had another series of conversations since he had made a short video following up his own video. Or at least it was, in a way, some kind of a response to somebody's comment on the video. And, so he had happened to come across the previous video, which was the essay. And here's what he said. Nikki, I loved this video essay, and I think it would make King Wart proud. Oh, really? Sheesh. That's quite kind to say. Okay, let's jump into that what if scenario for the 3rd Mario movie. Okay. If we all get our wish and Wart returns in the movie, along with the Syndicate, obviously, I do like the idea of him facing off against Mario, Luigi, and Yoshi. Yeah, so that is what I had explored upon, for sure. In which, yes, I give in 2 alternate options, with option A being that, Birdo might capture Yoshi, and it would worry Mario and Luigi a bit, and here comes Peach and Toad. Though, I had a bit of a clarification about that in my response, which I will hop into in a little bit. So, all jokes aside, gaming, he says would rather have the option B to play out. Because I don't think a rematch of Peach and Toad versus Wart in the 8-bits would be as interesting to see again. That's fair, that's fair. Although, in my clarification I follow up with, I added a bit of a quirk to it, which would make it a little unique than just what the scenario from the official Galaxy movie played out to be. No, anyway, the whole idea of Yoshi being completely distracted by an apple that Wart is cutting up would honestly be hilarious. Especially if he keeps having to split his attention between the apple and Birdo. I can actually picture the scene playing out exactly how you described it. Yeah, that is funny. And I even had said before about what was the spark of inspiration behind the said what if scenario was I come across this Twitter drawing of Yoshi and Wart. Anyway, I also think it would be funny if Wart eventually just eats the apple himself, leaving Yoshi stuck dealing with Birdo instead. Birdo could even hit Yoshi with an egg, and that becomes the moment where he realizes he's falling in love with her. Oh la la. I do think Birdo would need a story arc where she has to choose between staying loyal to the 8-bits or joining forces with Yoshi. Yeah, that is exactly what else I touched up upon in my scenario, like, scene B. Yeah. That would make the whole thing way more emotional and interesting. Yeah, indeed. That's exactly what I said. It also would be hilarious if she discovered Wart replaced her with Roberto because they missed having her around. I like that part that you put. That is funny. I'm glad that you remember that Roberto even is a thing. I remember too, but Roberto only was exclusive to Super Mario Advance, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, honestly, I think your idea gives Yoshi a much bigger role in the story, because so far he mostly just joined the group and everybody accepted him immediately. He still doesn't really have his own big storyline yet, and I think he absolutely needs one. Oh, for sure, for sure. Thank you for the shout out for my channel. You're so awesome for that. Oh, you're very welcome. After watching this video, I genuinely think you may be the biggest King Wart fan I have ever met. And that's saying something! Oh. You're really tearing me up with these kind responses. Thank you! Thank you! And then my reply back says, so I did just sit down and take my time with reading this lengthy response you typed out here. Thank you very much on agreeing with me how a specific scenario in the story for next movie would play out like. And, well, I'm really sorry. I should have clarified the scenario a little better there with Peach and Toad coming to the rescue. Clarification is, well, it'd be like if Yoshi is trapped with the 8-bits as Mario and Luigi were worried. So what I meant to put here is, yes, Peach and Toad would come to save the day, and as they would approach, the 8-bits would be all just like, you again? Why come during this time right now when we're having our fun with the Marios and Yoshi's trap? We're out to get you now, blah, 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 something like that. But, yeah. Like, I thought it would be, like, honestly, I thought it would have been hilarious if, like, one of the 8-bits or, like, Wart would, you know, recognize that Peach and Toad are coming to rescue Yoshi, I think. I thought it would have been funny if one of the 8-bits would, like, notice that Peach and Toad coming to the casino, since they seen Peach and Toad come to the casino before. It would go, oh, it's them, you know. I thought it would have been funny. But no, I think Scenario B would work much better indeed, since, yes, it would give both Yoshi and Birdo their well-deserved big story arcs for sure. But yeah, so, now while I agree, Peach and Toad versus Wart and the 8-bits being not as interesting, I wonder what you think of my little idea I put on for Scenario A about if there were to be a next Mario movie in which Wart and the 8-bits would have a role. Now, going back to my own response, the idea with Wart just eating the apple, leaving Yoshi to be stuck with Birdo for a while is indeed hilarious, lol. So, like, this is what I picture. Wart, like, just eating the apple, not even giving a hoot. Yeah, that would be funny, yeah. Oh yes, the idea of Roberto being in the story sure would be amazing too, since I did also bring up how curiously Triclide and Fry Guy aren't in the story yet, but they definitely should return. But then, this is where my own self-insert I talk about briefly at the end of the video comes into play. By the way, self-insert's name is Pro. She would be the one to bring back Triclide and Fry Guy, since it would be a fetch quest Wart himself would assign her to do, which I touched upon earlier. And yeah, this self-insert of mine definitely would be touched upon more in so-called video, definitely plan to do later on, and this is what I'm working on now. You're very welcome on Shoutout. I figured it would be deserved, since your Bowser video was the one that started up the idea of this King Wart video essay I put together. You're darn right, I'm one of the biggest King Wart fans ever, if not the biggest. Heck, I still remember I've discussed a while back about I've had this fascination for the character since all of the Super Mario Bros. 2 iterations, so yeah. And speaking of said Super Mario Bros. 2 iterations, like I said, Roberto only is from Super Mario Advance, so yeah, the inclusion of Roberto in the movies, that sure would be interesting, yeah. Like, introduce not just Triclide and Fry Guy, and maybe my self-insert, but also Roberto. Yes, Roberto definitely should be in the story. That would be really awesome and just very funny. And here's the next discussion I wanted to read out loud. And this time, it is a discussion that was underneath my short. So all jokes aside gaming, he says, I'm with you on this Wart diorama too. This is awesome. Finally, the king is getting the attention he always deserved. Oh, you dang right he is. You dang right he is. And my response is, yeah, definitely. So from what I have heard, maybe the diorama and all the other Wave 2 merchandise for Super Mario Galaxy Movie might be eyeing a June, July, or August release, possibly June. Since I remember, Jakks Pacific themselves said they're supposed to launch Wave 2 around the summertime. Alright. And much more so that I not only had screenshotted those discussions, but before taking the screenshots of said discussions, I've even pinned All Jokes Aside Gaming comments just so I could have an easier time keeping track of everybody's comments. Like, don't get me wrong, you guys still can comment on my videos all you want, but if a comment is seen to be, you know, like, important or like, you know, really funny or something positive like this, there may be a chance I might pin that comment other than just giving it a heart. You know what I mean? So, actually, because since this month is June, now I wonder what day King Wart will finally have his minifigure release and the whole entire Minus World diorama. Only time will tell. Only time will tell. But anyways, what did you think of when I touched upon a little bit on my Crow and Wart yumeship? Now, as for my name, I'm Nikki Rossler. And again, I have no idea about what other videos I would have in mind. I still would be live streaming the next day, so stay tuned for that. Oh, I'm sorry. I rechecked the article, and it said late summer 2026. So I guess probably when Pumpkin Duck Bee and me were hoping it was going to be June. Looks like we might be wrong. So when the article says something like late summer 2026, maybe it might sometime be around July or August. So July or August probably would be the realistic date. Oh, I still want my hands on that Wart minifigure though badly!